Hello again, everyone. So this is part 2 of the octopus crochet along, the hat crochet along. We'll be working on the head part of it. This is what gets attached to the back of it. So it's going to sit there like this. As you can see, it kind of looks a bit granny square-ish, but worked in a round, so it's a granny round. And this is the part where, if you're going to stuff it, this is the part that you would stuff at the end of it. So we're going to be making this part of the hat today. It's not easily translated into a different kind of, a different part of the pattern. Hang on. Sorry, the AC is on in here and it gets really loud. I didn't know if you guys were hearing me. So yeah, so this is what we're working on today, the back of the head. And it's a little complicated, like I said before on the previous one. I think I mentioned it. I had to frog it like 6 different times in the beginning of it so that I could actually, understand the instructions. So I've done all the hard bits. You guys just have to follow along with me. There's one thing I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention in the last video about sizing and how to make a hat just a little bit bigger. I know I mentioned that you can do the extra round and increase the stitch that way, but you can also change your hook size and still do the regular, the medium size pattern by going with just a bigger hook size. It'll make it just a touch bigger. It's probably what I should do on the hat instead of going up to the 64 stitches, but I forgot about it myself. So, but yeah, so if you were to make the hat and you wanted to make a wide range, a range of sizes that aren't that much different, you just, instead of using the H hook, you can use the I hook or the J hook. So that's one of the things you can do with any of these patterns, or any pattern you see, is just change the hook size to a bigger size, and there you go. I don't know why my camera keeps zooming in and out, I'm sorry. I think it's trying to focus. Oh, it's not working very well today now, is it? So anyway, I think that's all I wanted to mention about last week's video. If you guys are doing this pattern with me, show me your progress. If you have a yarn mess, then just, you know, share that too. I can tell where you've gotten wrong if you need help, or again, if you're stuck somewhere, just let me know and I can explain it better or do a recap in the next video if it's needed. Hi honey, thanks for watching. So yes, Kyle's watching. All right, so yeah, I think that's all I needed to mention about all that. For today's lesson, crochet part, you're going to need your J hook. I am going to be using the J hook, and your worsted weight yarn. You can use a different color from the main hat if you wanted to. You can, if you wanted a multicolor hat, it's your hat. It's whatever you want to do. Just make sure it's that weighted 4 worsted weight yarn. The other thing you might need is your stitch marker. I don't know, I hadn't needed it for this pattern. Sorry, I'm thinking maybe that, no, that made it worse. Hang on guys. Oh, that made it really bad. I was trying to fix it. So anyway, if you needed the stitch marker for this one, it kind of works, it kind of doesn't. I can see where we're at, where we need to be, and I'm sorry. That's a little annoying, isn't it? All right, let's see if that works. Anyway, so yes, recapping again, stitch marker, and you'll also need your scissors. So J hook, worsted weight yarn, stitch marker, and scissors. Okay, and the pattern. I posted the pattern before, again, on my previous Facebook post. We're working on the hat on the back of the main hat, aka the head of the octopus. And that's the pattern, or the picture that you need to be looking for. And yeah, this one is, instead of using the half double crochet, you'll be using the double crochet stitch. And this time I'll try better keeping my stitches in frame. I hadn't realized last video that it was so high above. I was going along and every time I looked down, it was in frame. So I'm like, okay, we're good. Apparently it wasn't. So anyway, all right, so I'm going to be flipping it around again before this video so you can see what it looks like, because this is one of those that is very, very visual. So yeah, let me go ahead and turn that camera around and get it set up here. More jostling. Hopefully the lens on the back is as clean as I think it is, and it's not going to have the zooming in and out feature going on for you guys. So alright, so let me go ahead and turn that around. Remember, we're working on the J hook. Oh, Tony's watching. Oh man, the threesome is alive. Sorry. Hi. Alright, so anyway, I'm going to turn the camera around and you can watch and learn how to do this one. So let me do that first before I get too much closer on the end here. Flip. Alright, yay. There we go. So, we got cords in the way today. Oh geez. You would think I would be more organized today doing this. This is my third time doing this video. Faceplant on the camera. Oh boy, come on. Can we not today? Thanks. Okay, there we go. Woo! Alright. So, again, like the last video, we are going to be doing a working in the a magic ring in the first round, or first part. I call it the first round. They call it the first part. It is what it is for them. Alright, so let's see. So the magic ring again was, remember, this is my left hand, this is my right hand. And I wish I could zoom out. I can't zoom out. Okay. Let's do it, zoom out manually. How about that? Okay, so again, we make that fish shape. And then we grab the X. And we kind of stick our finger in there to make the hole stay open. Grab the yarn and we're chaining 3. 1, 2, and 3. And now, because in this series of stitches, the chain 3 is going to count as our first stitch. We need to do 15 double crochets into this ring now. Alright, so let's get started on that. So we gotta do 15 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, and remember, it's a wrap and then go in, pull through 1, pull through 2, pull through 2 for the double crochet. And wrap and go in, pull through 2, pull through 2. You want to make sure that when you go in and pull through technically 1 here, sorry, it's stuck. Ah, there you go. And you get the 3 loops on, and then you go through 2. Oh, I lost count. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh geez, it's getting difficult. All right, remember, if it starts getting too short here, you can shorten up the loop, the magic ring, make it smaller so you have more string to pull there. It's the yarn that's acting up today. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're about halfway there. Now you have 9 and 10. And I don't know why the camera keeps zooming in and out on me. It's not fair. 11. Oh, didn't finish the stitch. 11. 12. 12. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's 12. And then 13. Double goes faster, but you could also slip out more. And was that 15? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Nope, I got one more. And 15. So in this first round, we have a total of 16 stitches. Now with the magic ring, we just pull the string that we've been working over this whole time, and it's going to close up, and voila, no big hole in the middle. Because there's so many stitches in this first round, there's going to be a little bit of gapping here in the middle, just because you could only squish yarn so far. So our next, it's going to be on our round 1. Oh, we need to make sure that we slip stitch into the first, or the chain 3. So we have the 1, 2, 3. We're going to slip stitch into the top of that stitch. So we just go in and we pull through all the loops at once. And now we have the perfect circle. This pattern, or this part of the pattern, we are going to be doing the chain 3s, and they are going to count as a stitch. We are also going to be doing this in an actual, what I'm going to call a circle stop. Unlike the other one where it was, we worked in a spiral, this one we're actually going to chain 3 up every single round and slip stitch into it to close it up. So each round is going to be a complete circle, slip stitch closed, and then we go up to the next row. So this is a different variation of how to work in the round. I have an idea. Hang on. Let's see if this works. We're going to go a little higher here. See if this works. Here we go. It's a little higher. Sorry for all the jostling today, guys. Okay, so you are going to be working in clusters, and just like before, you're going to be working in the gaps between the stitches. So we have this gap here that we're going to be working into on this next part, which is right next where we did our slip stitch into. When we do this one, we're going to do a chain 3, and remember, I tuck this in so that I don't have to weave in ends later. So I'm going to keep this on top of my other stitches there. 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to do 2 double crochets into this gap right here. So it's going to be 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. All right, so now I've got that done. The next stitch we're going to do is that we're going to be doing another 2 double crochets in the next gap, skipping 1 and going over to the next gap. All right, let me make sure I get this right. So we are going to be doing, 3 double crochets in there. So this is where I got messed up and had to frog so many times. So we're doing 3 double crochets in this next. We skip 1 and go into the next gap. So we're going in here doing 3 double crochets. Again, if I'm not being clear, guys, please let me know so that I can be a little bit more clear, make some clarifications as needed. If you guys are working along with me, drop those pictures. I want to see what they look like. All right, so that's 3. We're going to skip again and do another 3 double crochets in the next gap. We're going to do that all the way around until we get to our final spot down here. Okay, so we're going to skip and do 3, 2, 3, skip and 3. It should be a total of 8 sets here. And 3, skip 1, go in. 1, oh, come on. 2 and 3. Skip 1, go in. 1, 2. Unlike normal patterns, yeah, there we go. For the granny square, we're not doing any chain stitches between the clusters. So it gives it a little tighter look to it. All right, so that's our last set. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We are now going to slip stitch into this stitch here, and that ends round 1. So again, we went every other gap. We did 3 double crochet clusters here to finish up round 1, and you have 24 stitches in there. All right, so they're round 2, aka round 3, because this is 1 to me, this is 2. Now we're going to do round 3. Round 3 gets a little, oh gosh, okay. Round 3 is going to be an increasing round. So we are going to be doing our chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. We are going to go into this gap here, and we're doing our 2 double crochets. All right. So that's our first cluster. Pretty much every row is going to start with chain 3, 2 DCs in this gap. The next step is to do, oh wait, sorry. This is why I had to frolic so many times. You actually need to go behind, because the 3's got to stay together there. I'm sorry. All right, Kyle, slightly to the right. The right makes the octopus more clear. My director's telling me to go more right. Okay, so we are going to be doing the 2 double crochets to the right of the first chain 3 cluster. Okay, it's just instead of right here where I had it, it's going to be right here. All right, so we have our chain 3, and in this next cluster section we are going to be doing 6 double crochets into this spot here. So we're doing 6, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so we have 6 double crochets right here. And in this next gap, we are doing 3 double crochets. So we're doing a pattern of 3, 6, 3, 6, and we're working in these big gaps that we've got here. So this one's gonna be 3, 1, 2, and 3. Makes my yarn come out some more here. Okay, and then now we're in this next gap. We are going to be doing 6 double crochets. So we're doing 1, 2, oh, missed it, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, next gap is going to be, oh, why did I not catch that before? So here we go, a perfect example of Tiff not paying attention. I only did 2 double crochets there, but you know what? I am not going to undo this. I'm just going to pretend like that was on purpose, and we're going to leave it at 2 there, and we're going to do 3 double crochets in this gap here. 1, 2, and 3. No one will know that that's not on purpose. No one will know that that's not enough stitches. And this is why crochet is awesome and more fun than knitting. Because if this was knitting, that would be a huge mistake. And we'd have to go all the way back to the beginning. So, knitters. All right, anyway. So we've got a 3. Now we're going to do a 6. 1. You want to make sure you have 6, though. It makes counting down the line easier. Because you got to go in between them. 2. 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, now we're going to do a 3 into this one here. 1, 2, 3. And then the pattern here tells you, okay, you're now going to be doing a group of 6 in this gap, and then we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain here. That's basically when you're reading round 2, that's what it's saying. We did this part here, and it says we need to do it 2 more times. So we got 1 time and 2 time, cluster 3, cluster 6. So now we're going to do the cluster 6 to finish this off. 1, 2, oh, okay, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so we've got 6 now. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do that slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 here. See if I can actually show you guys how it goes. You wanna make sure you get the actual chain and not the space underneath the chain. So you wanna go into the actual chain here and get it. I'm trying to make sure the camera gets it too. So you guys can see, there you go. All right, so you've got it in there and you're gonna pull through this stitch, pull through that stitch, and we have now completed what they call round 2. Again, round 2 was the cluster of 3 double crochet and a cluster of 6. And that's how we expanded out. So now you can see our circle is getting a lot wider. It's also a really fancy looking granny square at this point. And if I wanted to square this up, I would just go bing bing in these corners. All right, anyway, so we're gonna do our chain 3 and go on to our round 3 in the pattern. Now, if you're following along on the pattern, you're going to notice that there's a lot of like what looks like multiplication tables there on it. Those numbers on the pattern are just her how she was showing what is going on, what she's trying to explain in this pattern. So she has 3, 3, 6, 3, 3, 6, 3, 3, 6, which is basically what we're going to be doing in this next part here. Is that we're doing our chain 2, we're doing a cluster of 3 double crochets here, a cluster of 3 double crochets here, and then we're doing a 6 here. So again, we're still working on increasing the size of this part of the pattern. Sorry. So let's go ahead and get started on round 3 here. So it's a wrap and go in, go 1 and 2. Woo. So that's a 3 cluster, but it's not counting as our first cluster here. So we're gonna go a count of 3 cluster here, 3, and then what we're gonna do is that we're doing 3 in the third, between the 3rd and 4th stitch of our 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches here, right? And so we're going 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going into the space between 3 and 4 there. So we're doing a cluster of 3, 1, 2, and 3. All right, now in this next stitch, we are doing a 6 double crochet. No, we're not. And this is frogging again, and I am sorry. We were supposed to do a 6 here. It was 1, 2. It was counting as our first cluster. So we're doing 3 here. 1. Nope. Yeah. No, we're doing 6 here. Sorry. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So recap my mistake, and I just had to frog. We did our 2 double crochets after the chain 3, and then it was supposed to be a chain or a set of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we've got the 6 double crochets here. Now we're doing a 3 into that between the 3rd and 4th gap here. So on the previous 6, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're doing 3 double crochets there in the gap. Oh, I'm sorry for this video being such a mess. Like I said, this was a really confusing pattern at first for me, and it's still confusing me. So I'm like, oh yeah, I got it, and then I don't got it. So we have our 6 and we have a 3, and we are going to be doing a 3 double crochet in the next gap. So we have 1, 2, and 3. All right, then we're going to have a 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. so I can remind myself, we essentially do our 6th cluster right before the previous 6 rows 6th cluster. All right, so we have our 6th cluster there. We're going to go in between the 3rd and 4th of the previous row. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. So we're going to do a 3 cluster of double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do another cluster of 3 here. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do a cluster of 6 in this next gap because it's right before the 6th gap there. All right, so we have 6 to do in here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. It's a messy 6, but it doesn't matter because it's going to disappear here. We're going to do a 3 cluster between the 3rd and the 4th. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're doing a 3 cluster. 1, 2, and 3. We will be doing another 3 cluster. 1, 2, and 3. We'll be doing a 6 cluster now. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to do a 3 cluster in the middle of the previous 6 cluster. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then we're doing a 3 cluster here. 1, 2, and 3. Now you'll notice again that I'm not actually using the stitch marker because it's kind of obvious this is the end of my row. It's up. So I will be doing my slip stitch into the top of the 3rd chain again. So let's see if I can get it in the actual chain stitch here. Yep, there we go. And then we just pull it all the way through. And there we go. Now, last week I showed that if you wanted to do a baby-sized hat, you would probably need to do a smaller sized part here. So if you were making the baby-sized hat, it's only a little bit bigger than this right now. So what you would do is that you would do a cluster of 3 all the way around. So you would have your 3 cluster here, 3 cluster here, a 3 cluster here in the middle of your 6 cluster, and go all the way around. And you would do that for about 4 rounds, keeping the same amount of stitches because you have the width that you needed, and then you're just building up the height. So you would do that until you're you finish 4 rounds. And then what you would do is that you would follow the instructions starting at round 10 in the instructions. If you are doing the baby-sized hat. I'll probably make some comments on the pattern and post it in there just so that you guys can remember that part. But this is where you would stop increasing stitches if you're doing the baby-sized hat. So onward to the medium-sized adult hat. We are going to continue on to round 4 and follow round 4. It's also an increasing stitch round. So we're doing our 1, 2, chain 3, and we're going to do our 2 double crochets here in this gap. 1, 2. All right. So, oh my goodness, come on, get in there. All right, there you go. That's the problem with doing double crochets. Sometimes it just gets away from you when you try to go too fast. All right, so there's 2. It was too loose before. All right, so there's our 2 start, and we're going to do, as I suddenly remembered, we're going to be doing our 6 cluster right here before. So in this next gap, we're doing 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh gosh, 5, and then one more for 6. All right, just like before, we're going to be doing a 3 cluster between 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the previous one. So we're going to do 1, 2, and 3. And we've got a while before we get to our next 6 clusters, so we're going to do 2 more 3 clusters here. Again, this is expanding out. So we got 1, 2, and 3. We're going to do another 3 cluster, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So, as you can see, the previous row we had 2, 3 double crochet clusters before in between the 6s. This time we have 3 double crochet clusters between the 6s. So that's how I know we're expanding out. So this is going to be a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oh. Okay, and now we're going to do another set of 3 double crochets. So we start off between the stitches here, 1, 2, 3, between 3 and 4, 2 and 3, another 3 cluster, 1, 2, and 3, and one more 3 cluster in this next gap here. We're going to do 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we're doing a 6 cluster in this next spot. So we're going to do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, we're going to do a 3 cluster between 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. Got to wrap before you go in. 1, 2, and 3. All right. And then we're going to be doing another 3 cluster. 1, 2, and 3. One more 3 cluster. 1, 2, and 3. And it's going to be our last 6 cluster here. If you're following along on the pattern on the round 4, it said repeat 2 more times. So we did that, the chain DC2, and then it said repeat 6 cluster, 3, 3, 3, and then go back and repeat 6 cluster. We do that 2 times, which we've done. And now what we're doing is another, after that it says 60C. As we can tell, it's going to be a 60 double crochet because there. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we need to do 2 more 3 double crochet clusters. So we're going in the middle of the 6, between the 3 and 4. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, gosh, go 3. Let's go. Okay, and then 3 again. 1, 2, 2, and 3. All right, so now we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. 1. We can find it. There it is. Yeah, there it is. Sometimes you can find it, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just got to go with what's even at the top there. All right. So now we are done with our increasing stitches. This is the size it's going to be if we are doing the medium-sized hat. Again, if you did the large size hat, you can do another round of increasing, and that would just be what we did, you know, chain 3 up, do the 2 DCs, do the 6 here, do 3, 3, 3, 3, and then another 6. So instead of doing 3 clusters of 3, you would be doing 4 clusters of 3 before you did the 6. And that's just how you would keep increasing this. You could even use, actually, if you don't go on the decreasings that we're about to do, you can probably keep expanding this out and it would make a pretty cute blanket. It's like a granny square blanket at this point. It's just a little tighter is all. You would just need to square it up and there you go. Get a little baby blanket going. But that's probably another tutorial years down the road. So anyway, we are going to be working on round 5. Round 5 will be us keeping the same amount of stitches. So we're going to be starting to build out our height. We've got our width, we're working on the height now. So we're going to do our chain 3 and we're going to do our 2 double crochets. So now we have our what looks like a chain 3 cluster, or I mean a 3 cluster there, not just chain but a 3. The chain counts as the first stitches. All right, so now we're going to do 3. We're only going to be doing 3 double crochet clusters all the way around. So this is going to be 2 and 3. We're still going to be doing the clusters in between here on the 6th clusters. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. We go in between those. We're just doing 3 double crochets there. 1, 2, and 3. And then we keep going around with 3 double crochets. And that's pretty much all round 5 is saying to do here, is that we're going to be we're just keeping the same number of stitches as the previous row. So we have 2 and 3. Oh gosh, go 3. There we go. And we go 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Again, we're doing a 3 cluster between 3 and 4, so we have 1, 2, and 3 right here. 1, 2, and 3. And then we have another 3 here. Oh, go. All right, there we go. 1, 2, and 3. So yeah, we're just doing clusters of 3 to keep this the same. We'll be doing this for this round and the next round. Except you don't have to go between the 6 clusters. It'll just be all 3 clusters that you're skipping. And 3. And then we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3. You guys can tell when my yarn gets snagged up, I have to stop going. All right, so we have 1, 2. My yarn was too big to wind it up into a cake, so that's why it's not the smoothest going here with it. Although after doing 2 hats, I'm probably not going to have any of this yarn left. If you guys remember, it was a Red Heart Super Saver size. And it's just slowly getting eaten up here. All right, so we're kind of up to our last 3 cluster in the middle of a 6. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. oh gosh, 2. This is 2. And 3. If you guys are watching this video or just popping in and see what's going on and then popping back out, remember, you can learn how to crochet. I mean, it is as easy as I make it look here on these videos. It's just really a matter of keeping the brakes on your pinky and keeping this area here tight and taut so that you can grab the yarn easy enough. After that, the next hurdle is actually counting. We're being able to count. And at this pattern right now, we're just counting 3 and 6. So it's not a lot of mental things like the other one was. All right, so I finished my last cluster of 3. I'm going to slip stitch into the top and pull it all the way through. Now we are going to be doing round 7 from the pattern, and it's basically we're just it says repeat row 6, which is just doing 3 double crochet clusters all the way around here. Sorry, all the way around. So we're going to do our 2 here before the 3 cluster starts. Oh, go. Sorry, I tried to do that one too fast. Double crochet looks fast because it is fast. It's one of the looser stitches, so it's hard to get super tight spots to get into, so it's a lot faster. It goes a lot more smooth. If you guys have ever watched that kid that can crochet like the wind, he does a lot of projects in double crochet. And I don't blame him. Double crochet is the powerhouse of crochet. Most blankets and patterns call for double crochet because it works up the fastest. So we got one more in here. I want to make sure we get 3 in each cluster. We don't want to decrease yet. Like before when I accidentally did a 2 instead of a 3. It was okay back then. Now we need to make sure we're doing 3 because it starts decreasing soon. I mean, we can have a wonky looking octopus. That's totally fine. It's up to you how you want to shape your octopus head or the colors of it. Or if you wanted to change colors halfway through, go for it. There really is no rules for this. Just make sure that you're increasing when you need to increase and decrease when you're needing to decrease. So you actually have a shape forming and not just, well, you can have a blob octopus if you want, I guess. There's no rule that says you can't. So just doing 3 double crochets in every gap all the way around here. And this is round 7. I call it round 8, but the pattern calls it round 7. They don't count our magic ring round as a round. I do. Personal preference. It's easier for me to count it that way. Alright, so I know I'm not at the beginning yet because the beginning, again, there's like a little notch here. I'm about halfway. So, had a couple people swinging by and watching. Hi people, hello. You've already gone and left. That's cool. Solo crochet. I know it's not the most mesmerizing thing to watch. Maybe counting sheep, that'll help. I don't know. This is the one part of the hat that I do have to do with you guys for the whole time because it does get a little complicated, unlike before where it was just you get to a certain point and you can just go and end when you want. This one actually has some tricky stitches to it, so I want to make sure that you guys understood all the parts of this part of the pattern. So I want to make sure that if you guys have any questions, I might have cleared it up, or maybe you guys didn't understand something in the pattern when you tried it yourself. This pattern is available for free. I keep forgetting the name of it and who it's by. It doesn't help that the actual pattern. Ooh, that was a major face plant there. Sorry about that. Oh gosh. My camera stand just kicked my camera out of it. Oh, and now you guys have to deal with motion sickness. Okay. Let's see. Do I have it? Am I back? I think I'm back. I think my director stopped watching, so he's not going to tell me if I need to go left or right. So anyway, so yeah, the pattern itself, I can't remember the name of it. So I'll put credits in it at some point if I can remember the name of it, or I'll look it up when I do. So, okay, I think we're back on track here. Okay, so we're finishing up our last few or double crochet 3 clusters. Sorry for all the camera drops and falls today. It might be because I had coffee. I hadn't had coffee in like 3 weeks, and I suddenly had coffee this morning, and now I'm all like super jittery. I didn't even have my normal size coffee. It's crazy. All right, just 2 more clusters here. 2 and 3. Maybe next time we'll actually have a different setup for this. 1 more chain 3, or 1 more 3 double crochet cluster. I keep calling it chain 3 because we have to start the rows with chain 3s. It's not right. Now we're going to slip stitch into the chain 3 here. So 1, 2, 3. All right, and that finishes up the pattern round 7. So as you can see, we're starting to get some height here. It's kind of looking like a basket. I mean, if you want to make it a basket, you just keep going at this, and it would make a super cute basket or a bag or something. This is, like I said, essentially a granny stitch here, except without the chains. But if you had the chains, the spaces would just be a little bit bigger is all. All right, so now we're going to do round 8, and round 8 is the first decreasing round. The good news is we've only got 5 more rounds, so all right, guys, we got this. So we're going to chain 3 again, and we're going to do our 2 double crochets here. So we're still starting with 3. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to do just 2 double crochets in this next gap. So just 2 double crochets here. And that's our first decrease. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 in this next gap. 2 and 3. And in the next one we have 2. So we're doing a pattern of 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2 all the way around here. And this gives us our first decreasing of 10 stitches in the end. So we're doing 2 DCs here. And then we're going to do 3 DCs here. And 3. And then we're going to have 2 DC. And then we have 3. And then we have a 2. And 3. It doesn't look like we're decreasing much, but with the smaller stitches, the DC takes up a smaller amount of space so that it actually makes it start going small here. So that's a 2. We're doing a 3. And then we'll be doing a 2. So this was a 2. Then we have a 3. Good news about decreasing is that it takes less time to go all the way around after a while. This is a 2 DC. This is a 3 DC. 2 DC. And a 3 DC. And then a 2 DC. A 3 DC. Yep, 3 DC. If you get lost, you just look at the previous stitches you did, and you can tell if it's either a 2 or a 3. So that was a 3. So this next one is going to be a 2. You should be ending on a 2 DC because you're going to be slip stitching into that first 3 DC that you made. So 1, 2, and 3, slip stitch into it. All right, so you can't really tell yet, but we started to come in. You can kind of tell here. So we have a slope. It went really wide, and now we're sloping in. So the next one, we're repeating this round. So we're going to chain 3 up, 2, 3. We're doing 2 DCs, 1 and 2. And in the next stitch, we're doing 2 actual DCs. So we're doing 1 and 2. And in the next one is 3. 1, 2, and 3. Again, we're not decreasing this on this round. We're actually just keeping it the same. You don't want to decrease too quickly because then we'll have it kind of just have a pyramid shape instead of this nice round shape that we're going for. If you decrease too fast, it gives you sharp lines. If you decrease a less, like we're doing with this one, the lines are a lot more sloped and more round shaped. So we have a 2 DC here, and then a 3 DC. And again, this is round 9. 2, and this is a 3 DC. Again, if you get lost, just look at the previous stitch you did. And this is a 2, and this one's a 3. And you're alternating between 2 and 3 double crochets. And 3, and 1. And 2. This next one's a 3. And this one's a 2. And this one's a 3. Oh, this yarn. Sometimes the break on your pinky just makes it too hard to go. And then 2. And 2. And then we have 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. We have 2 again. And then we have 3. And I see the end coming up. And we have 2 again. We have 3. You might have noticed that there's a lot more height going on, or it seems like there's a lot more height going on than the hat, because remember when I did the hat, there definitely was not this much buildup going on. And that would be because on the previous video, we were using a half double crochet, which is not quite as tall as the double crochet. And this also gives the lumpy look to the hat, the back of the hat, the head of the octopus, because it's not as stiff of a stitch. It's not as thick of a stitch. So it relaxes a bit more and allows you to have that kind of, what is it? Sloped octopus feel to it. So, you know, the hat just kind of sits there and relaxes down and has that there we go, boneless look, because octopus are inverts, people. There's your homeschool lesson for today. So the homeschool lesson today, octopuses are inverts and they have no bones. All right, so anyway, so we're going to do, we just finished our last 2 double crochet, and we're going into the 3rd chain and slip stitching, and now we're going to be doing round 10. Again, round 10 is a decreasing stitch here. Sorry, decreasing round. And what we're gonna do on round 10, we have our chain 3. We're only doing 1 double crochet in here. So instead of having a set of 3, we have a set of 2 stitches. And what we're gonna do in the next one is that in the next holes around, since this is a decreasing, we're doing 2 double crochets in each gap this time. And we're gonna decrease this again by 10. This is where you rejoin us if you're doing the baby hat, or you would rejoin us the previous row. Either way, sorry. You should be back with us if you're doing the baby hat. This is basically what I'm saying. So each gap here is 2 double crochets. So here we go. 2 and 2. Oh no, if you were with us for the baby hat, you are here now. Because this is 40 stitches. So each one is 2 double crochets. If you accidentally do an extra, that's okay. It just means you have a bigger gap. 1 and 2. Oof. You also remember that the first part of the hat had more rounds than this part of the hat. But again, it's double crochet, so it looks bigger. So we have 2. It's also a little bit more gappy in here, so it definitely looks bigger. But I want to say you use the same amount of yarn for this. Even though you're doing less rounds, the stitch, as you can kind of see, probably, I don't know if you can actually see me working on this because it keeps throwing it up in the camera there, but it's actually an additional step compared to the half double crochet. So you use a little bit more yarn than the half double crochet, but there's less rounds. And 2 and 2. Again, 2 double crochets all the way around. 2 and 2. And this is the last 2 cluster that we need to do here on this round. And we're going to slip stitch again into the chain 3. And then we are going to repeat this round where we do 2 in each one round. So we go 1, 2, 3, just 1 double crochet here, and we're going to do 2 double crochet clusters in each gap around once more. Again, we're going for that small changes so it's not too angular, but as you can see, we're definitely decreasing now. It is full on coming into itself here. You can also start to see how much gapping is going on here. If you want to reconsider how you're going to stuff this part of the hat, by the way, this is where the stuffing goes. You can do a fabric lining on this part of the hat. I mean, that's a way to add in another color, peeks out between the gaps here, kind of like the octopus changing its own colors. Or you can do a white, well, I have white, so I would consider doing white fabric lining to blend it in. Or I don't know if you want to do the pantyhose method with this one because it would show through. It's not as camouflage as if your fabric turned out to be more solid. So if I was to line this, I would consider doing it in another color just so that it kind of has some interest in the back half of the hat. My polyfill is white though, so I could probably get away without having a fabric lining. But I would do the fabric lining just to make sure that the actual stuffing doesn't come out, say if I had to wash it or if somebody got rough with the hat and it would be how I would sell it, is that there would be a lining in it, which is another reason why I'm making you guys do one yourselves instead of making them all for you, everybody that wanted one. Now you can make your own, and you probably got time to do it, I'm sure. So we're finishing up these last few 2 double crochet clusters. Oh, maybe there we go. Oh, that's not right. There we go, now it's right. Loop and go in, 2, oof, 1 and 2. I did figure out how to put this video up on YouTube. Yay me! So I can put all the videos in the same place, so you don't have to scroll through my Facebook feed to find these videos. I don't know if they get grouped together or not. I can't remember. Oh, here's my last double crochet here. So yeah, I'll put a link up to my YouTube page so that you can see, have all the videos available to you at the same area. The only video I don't have up on YouTube would be the materials video that I went over, but that was just a test video anyway. All right, so slip stitching into the chain 3. And now we are on round 12. Hang in, guys, just 2 more rounds left. We've really got quite the bulbous head here. So for this one, we do our chain 3, and then we're doing 1 double crochet in the gap, and in the next stitch we're doing 1 double crochet. So we are doing a 2 1 2 1. Again, this is a decreasing round. So we got 2 1, and then we're going to do 2, and then 1, and then 2, and 1. Again, if you get lost, just look at your previous stitches, make sure that you're on track. And 2, and 1, and 2, and like I said before, it really does decrease. When you're doing decreases, it goes a lot faster because you're doing way less stitches. 2, and 1, and 2. Sounds like a dance move at this point. And then 1, and then 2, sorry, it keeps popping up in the front there. And then 1, and then 2, and 1, and then 2, and 1, and this is my last stitch here. Oh, lost it completely. All right, we're doing a 1, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 there, and that was round 12 in the pattern. So now, as you can see, we have a very small opening here. We are going to do 1 more round to make this opening even smaller, so that when you attach it to the heads, there's less sewing involved and less to attach. So we're gonna do the last round here. It's a round 3. We're gonna chain 3, and then we're going to do 1 double crochet all the way around here. So in each gap, it's a single double crochet, just 1 double crochet in each gap. And this decreases the pattern, I believe, to just 20 stitches. Don't count me on that, or quote me on that. I haven't counted yet. well, we count together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This makes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You want to make sure you're getting the gaps between the 2 and the 1 and not the gaps between each one. 18, 19, 20. Oof. Yep, so it's 20. There's my chain 3. This one's a little bit harder to see because it's all squished together, but that's my chain 3 there. So it is 20 stitches around at the final round here. We're going to do my slip stitch into the top of this stitch. And this was our last round, guys. So we're going to do our chain, clip, and pull it through. I'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to give my snip here. I'm not worried about adding an extra amount of string at the end to sew it on, because I'll probably come back through with another string itself and just sew it in that way, just because it would take a lot more yarn than I want to have lying around the house or in this project. So there we go. Let me go ahead and turn the camera back around. Let's see if I can do this without the mess of last time. Oh, nope. We're still in a mess apparently. Okay. All right. Sorry. And we're still zooming in and out again. All right, so yeah, so here is the back of the hat that we just made. As you can see, it's all floofy. This is the medium size. It does work on the bigger size as well. It's just not as, I mean, you'll probably have to stuff it more is all. So you're going to attach it to the back of the hat like so when it's time to attach everything. We're going to do the attaching stuff at the end of everything. So by now you should have a hat done. And you'll be working on the back of the head. It already automatically poops. It's kind of fun to play with. So yeah, you're gonna be working on this on the video. This is what you should have when you're done. It's kind of like a Rasta hat almost. Just playing. All right. So anyway, that is all for that part of the pattern today. I know it was really long and the camera was just still doing funny things today. I'm sorry for that. I'll work on maybe the setup again for the next part of the pattern, where we will start making the tentacles that hang down from the hat. That will be our next step. And by that point, we're pretty much halfway done after next week. So I'll try to have the next part 3 up by Monday, Tuesday of next week, so that you can start on the tentacles. I'm going to give you guys about a week for the tentacles, so there's only going to be one video next week, and that's just to give you guys time if you need I need the extra time to make sure that you finish up all the tentacles, because an octopus has 8. So yeah, I will put the changes for the baby size back of the head and the larger size back of the head for anybody that wanted to make those amendments. I'll put them in the comments. And yeah, if you guys have questions, post them. I do check this periodically. If you guys want to show off your work and see what you've done so far, go ahead and show that off too in the comments. I want to see what you've done so far. If anybody's actually doing this, that'd be great. Let me know how it's going. I know today's video, it was all over with the shakes and falling and stuff, so like I said, I'll work on that for next week. But if there's anything else in the videos, like you can't understand me at some parts, the lighting's not good enough, hey, you're really out of focus a lot when you're working, because I only periodically check the camera when I'm actually doing my stitches, because I can see it out of the corner of my eye, and it looks fine to me. So it's only afterwards when I check through to make sure I didn't mess anything up too bad that I'm like, oh. But yeah, okay, so next week we still need our J-hook, our worsted weight yarn. See, it's getting really loose here. And yeah, so, and you'll need more stitch markers. So just go ahead and make sure you have that around, ready to go for next week. And I will see you guys for part 3. All right, enjoy your weekend, everybody. Bye.